Welcome to the Coaches Preview Show. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. Very pleased today to have my special guest, the Ravenwood and Brentwood boys coaches and girls coaches. We're going to be talking about the Battle of the Woods, big time game tonight in WCS. We're going to start off with the girls coaches. Welcome, Coach Myles Thrash, Coach Andrew James. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us.
Not only is tonight obviously a big game in the district, but really I would say one of the most heated, and I say that in a positive way, rivalries in WCS and really all of Middle Tennessee. So we'll start with you, Coach Thrash, in your third year as head coach of Brentwood. Talk about what this game maybe means beyond just a district game.
Oh man, this game means a lot for our schools and the young adults as well, because most of them in these games have grown up playing against each other their whole lives, so they're very familiar with each other. Coaches are kind of familiar with each other, so anytime you get to compete and you know, even families, you know, they're across the street, some of them are neighbors or friends, and you know, and they all come out and just want to see competitive basketball, so it takes it to a whole nother level.
Coach James, you're in your first year as head coach of the Lady Raptors, but obviously no rookie when it comes to this rivalry. You've worked over the past several years in the boys and girls program. Talk about your excitement being in the big seat for game one here at Battle of the Woods in your career.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I mean, I've been a part of this rivalry now for a number of years, and you know, when I was the boys JV coach, it was like the gym was packed for those games because people wanted to get good seats for the varsity games, and you know, obviously we're playing a really good team as well, and you know, just the excitement of everyone being at the game. I mean, it's one of the best rivalries I've ever been a part of at the high school level. And, you know, everyone talks everyone's talking about it at school leading up, and the students are. So I know our girls are excited. I'm sure Myles' girls are excited about this game. And, yeah, you're right. These girls know each other. They're friends with each other. So that's why, again, it means a lot to both sides. So. Yeah.
You know, for me, my first real taste of them when I said, oh, dang, this is a little bit different, I was at the Ravenwood at Brentwood volleyball game this year. And I was like, dang, this is a good crowd here for this game. So it's obviously something you guys get excited about, your players get excited about, the parents get excited about, the whole school. So it's going to be exciting tonight. It really is. Yeah. All right, let's talk Brentwood here. Off to a 10-1 start, 4-0 in the district, winners of 10 in a row. Team is ranked number 7 in the state polls, Coach. You have to be pleased with how your team's playing so far.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with where we are, and we've worked hard to get there. I'm excited about it. Looking forward to some good things and want to continue to work.
Talk about that win Tuesday night over a very good Nolensville team. I mean, I think you guys would agree, if Nolensville was in this league, they'd be closer to 1 than they would be 9.
Definitely.
So great win for your team, 60-44 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it was a big win for us. Very physical game. Like you said, that's a great team. That's a AA team, but has AAA talent. They definitely compete in this league.
And then the big three. Seems like every time I look at the stats, and obviously I watched you guys last week when you played Paige Truschel Delaney with 19, Amelia Osgood with 16, Emily Truschel with 12. They get it done, it seems like, every night for you guys.
Yeah, they're a big part of what we do, and they're really, really good players. They worked extremely hard to get to where they are. They've had a lot of hurdles to get here, so they've worked extremely hard, and I'm proud of them.
And you've kind of grown into your role as the coach with those young ladies too, right?
Yeah. We all came in together. Basically, the twins were like sophomores. Amelia, she came right in with me, so yeah, I've kind of grown with them.
You know, we were talking about this before we came on the air, but obviously you had a big-time game last Friday night against Paige. A good atmosphere, good crowd for really the boys and girls game. But I thought your teams were fairly similar, but something I was really impressed with is how you guys make the extra pass. I mean, I was really impressed with that. Is that something your team prides itself on? If I were at all 11 games, would I have seen that most nights? Talk about that.
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in sharing the ball because we have 3 really, really talented players, and there's only one ball. In order to be successful, we came out and stressed early on that we have to play that way. And I feel like that's just the right way to play the game anyways. You have to share the ball, you know, and we take pride in sharing the ball.
Well, you can tell that your team's pretty bought into their roles, too. Let's talk Ravenwood here, Coach James. A tough loss on Tuesday night at Page, 58-46. They jump out on you early, 11-2, and then held you at bay pretty much the rest of the way. But your team is 8-6 overall, 3-3 in the league, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, and I'm sure it's not for you and your team, but I think some people are surprised at how well you guys are playing because you're really playing well.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I have a great group of girls. There's just a great group of kids that have been very coachable. They've bought into what we're doing, and you know, we've made some adjustments as the year's gone on to kind of go with our strengths. And you know, on Tuesday night we didn't shoot very well, and we just had one of those nights where we were kind of off, and Paige played pretty well, but I really enjoy this group. I really enjoy coaching them, and you know, we're just trying to continue to get better each day that we're on the floor. And you know, like you said, we have. I feel like we're, you know, we might have surprised some people, but we feel like we can just continue to get better. We feel like there's a lot more for us to accomplish, and that's just kind of going to be our goal moving forward is getting better. You know, basketball is a tournament sport, so we're just trying to get to where in February we're playing at our best. So we're still figuring it out, and we're slowly getting there.
You know, Lexi Erickson, she's one of those players, and I'm sure Coach Thrash would agree. Has she been playing for 7 years, it seems like. She's obviously one of your leaders. Talk about what she means to your team. Not only, I mean, she's one of your leading scorers, obviously, and assists and does all those different things for you, but talk about her leadership, too.
Well, you know, she's one of our captains, and she is a very important piece to our team. Obviously, she shoots it very well, but she's a great ball handler. She's a really smart player. I mean, she's always coming up to me saying, "Hey, what about doing this?" Making suggestions. She's kind of the coach on the floor, and everyone looks to her. Like when everyone looks to her for leadership, and she embraces that role. And you know, one of the biggest things for her is how good of she's shooting close to 90% from the free throw line. Like when the game. We're getting fouled and we need to make plays. She's getting fouled and she's knocking down those shots that are sealing games for us. And yeah, that's who our girls look to for leadership, and then they really respect her and love her. And on top of that, she treats her teammates really well. Yeah, she's a great teammate to everyone else.
Well, what about the addition of Reagan Grimes? Obviously, that's worked out pretty well too. She's new to the school, new to the team, new to the system, so to speak, but she's really played well as well.
She has, and Reagan's a great kid, very coachable. She's worked really hard for us, and you know, Tuesday night, you know, even though we lost, she played really well, had a lot of good rebounds, led us in scoring, and she was kind of our, you know, kind of the one that was kind of keeping us in it. And she's really embraced what we're doing, and she's become really good friends with the girls in our team, and they really enjoy having her, not just because of her being a great basketball player, but because she's just a great person. So yeah, we really enjoyed having her on the team.
A lot of basketball obviously still to play in the district, but right now Brentwood sits alone at the top, undefeated at 4-0. Page and Dixon both 4-1, Indy 3-1. Then Ravenwood, you guys are in there fifth at 3-3. Coach Thrash, talk about this. I know with you got an experienced team, a veteran team. Are you guys focused on the league standings at all? Is that something y'all openly talk about? Hey, we're trying to win this league. And do you talk about it? Do you just focus on each game, or maybe a combination of those things?
Yeah, this would probably be one of the first years we really put a lot more emphasis on it. In past years, we just want to make sure we play hard, build good team character, and just kind of position ourselves to be successful. Now we know in order to get to certain levels, seeding matters, you know, where you are. And then you always just want to be the best you can be and kind of get to the top. So a challenge for us is one of our goals is to be district champion. So, you know, we've lost it twice, so we want to try to fulfill it.
Coach James, probably a little bit different situation with you guys in terms of different parts now and different players showing up for your team. So maybe not as veteran a team as Brentwood has. But talk about what your team's goals are. Do you openly talk about it, or are you still in that phase of, hey, let's talk every single game and don't worry about that?
We're every single game. I didn't even know what the standings were until you told me about it.
I blew it.
I mean, we can't get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we do. We have one senior, Jasmine Brown, who is a transfer, and we have, some girls that have experience playing varsity, but we have a lot of people that don't have as much experience, and we're just focusing on every day. I mean, honestly, we're taking it one practice at a time. I know it's cliche, but we have totally bought into that. I was actually very proud of the fact that our girls didn't even talk about this game tonight until the Page game was over.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of been our mentality. Like our number one focus is playing Brentwood right now, and when that's over, we'll worry about the next game. We don't talk about who we're playing or the schedule and all that, because we just have to be very simple in our approach with what we're doing right now.
That's one of the things I enjoy about this show and talking to coaches is how the approaches can be different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's not effective.
Right.
You got to be who you are.
Yeah.
You've got to be what you need for your team, for that particular game, for that particular year. It's fascinating to me to hear that.
Yeah.
Coach Thrash, let's talk a little bit more specifically about tonight's game. What do you and your team need to do tonight and focus on in order to get that win in this Battle of the Woods matchup?
Well, we have to pay attention to the details, stay focused. We know they're going to be a well-coached team. He's done a tremendous job with his guys. We have to stay disciplined in what we do and just continue to get better, and be ready to prepare for anything they throw at us and make adjustments throughout the game.
Coach James, how about you guys?
I think Myles needs to rest his big three tonight. I think they just need a break. And, but anyway, that's the key is, it's like, they're so talented. You're right. You were talking about how it feels like Lexi's been there for a while. It feels like those three have been at Brentwood forever, and they're great talents. And it's like, well, we can take the three away, but then they drive on us. So we have to be ready to play really good defense. It's going to be, for us, is how we defend them. And if we can play good defense, and I think we have a chance. And I know they're going to be well coached, and Myles does a great job with switching up defenses and things like that, and pushing the ball in transition. So we got to play a really good game because we're playing a really good team.
Well, and the thing that's neat about tonight's game too, I know Brentwood Ravenwood maybe is a little different than your typical district matchup, but the atmosphere that you see tonight will definitely help your teams going forward. I think people don't appreciate maybe how into it our fans are. And when you guys get in postseason play, whether it be district, region, or beyond, you've already seen that. Yeah. So that's got to be a big thing for you guys as well.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Good
for
luck
having us.
in tonight's game.
Appreciate it.
Looking forward to watching.
All right, brother.
Man.
We'll be back to talk with Coach Shirley of Brentwood, Coach Whitlock of Ravenwood. Welcome back to the Coach's Preview Show. Pleased to have Greg Shirley, Brentwood High School, Patrick Whitlock from Ravenwood High School. Let's start with Coach Shirley. Coach, your team's playing well. Non-district win on Tuesday night over Nolensville, 57-30. And also, a congratulations, your 100th win at Brentwood in only the beginning of year 5, right?
Yeah, it's been a great journey. I've been blessed to walk into a great situation.
Well, obviously, a wise man told me once that anytime something's going well, you got to look at the leader too. So you've obviously done a great job there. And I saw too, I don't even know if you saw this, so this may be breaking news. I saw where a legendary coach there at Brentwood, Dennis King, mentioned on Twitter, he congratulated you, and you said, by far the quickest coach in basketball to 100 wins. Did you know that Coach King did that?
I didn't know that. I've gotten to know Coach King, so a lot of respect for him. I've embraced, the journey that he had started, and read the books that he wrote, and just have a lot of respect for him as a coach and a person.
Does this include the what's the one? Is it Moon Zoo? He's got one like some kind of, is that called a surname?
The art of basketball. And I read it. I didn't realize it was from him first, and then I was told it was from
Classic Coach King. So I thought that was a big deal that he recognized that. Coach Whitlock, you're in year 14, the dean of the district in terms of coaching experience. You've coached in a lot of games, but you and I have talked about this before. Talk about how special this Battle of the Woods game is, no matter when you play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the stakes are always really high. My first couple years, my first year when Dennis wasn't coaching, it was a big game, but it wasn't quite to that level. And then a couple years into that rivalry, once Dennis got the footing back on Brentwood basketball, we had 1 year where all 4 games were decided by 2 or 3 points, and including a region semifinal game. And that's when things just kind of took off, and I think it's just the emergence of Williamson County basketball in general, with teams, having 2 teams in the state tournament on a consistent basis now. I mean, that just didn't happen, 10, 12 years ago. So it's been nice that this rivalry and the other rivalries like Franklin and Centennial have kind of just taken off.
I mentioned this to Coach James and Coach Thrash earlier. When I really got a taste of the Battle of the Woods is in a volleyball game this year. Ravenwood at Brentwood. I could not believe the crowd that I saw there. I mean, it was a good crowd for a basketball game, which obviously those games are typically more well attended. Coach Shirley, team's off to a 10-4 start overall, 4-0 in district play. Last Friday night, a big win at Page, 45-44. And although it's early in the year, to me, you have 2 wins that a lot of people aren't going to get, and that is Franklin and at Summit. So you've got to be really, really pleased with how you're playing so far.
I'm very pleased. A bunch of young players that are stepping up. Not a lot of returning experience, but we're definitely still improving. Great wins at both places. Great win against Page. I mean, any game that you win in this district's a great win. But yes, Summit and Franklin, both very talented. Great wins for our program.
And no one wants to hear this, I know, but only 2 seniors on your team, right?
Only 2 seniors.
So it's not like this is going to go away. John Winley leading your team, 15 points a game. Evan Drennan, who to me has really played well for you guys and has emerged. And then Griffin Burke, something I noticed when you guys were playing Page, a true leader. That guy's a great leader on the floor, how he takes command of the team. Obviously, Winley, that's a name we all know. He's seemed like a star in this league for several years. But Griffin Burke, to me, really stands out as a guy that's leading your team.
Griffin Burke, Mason Redner, Jake Brock, young men that are stepping up that have a love for the game. And, Griffin's done an amazing job as a leader. Loves it, sleeps it, eats it, drinks it. Kind of kid that you want to coach.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty obvious. Something else that stood out to me is your ability to shoot free throws. You got 4 guys who are 80% or higher. Makes it tough. Late in the game, somebody's having to foul you. Who are you going to foul with 4 guys shooting over 80? And then as a team, 70%? So that's a pretty critical stat for your team too.
Yeah, that's
Don't
come
foul,
big
Coach
in
Whitlock.
several games. We've, like I said, as a team, we've shot close to 80% as a team. So that's probably the highest I've had.
The team's close to 80.
It's close to 80%.
Wow, that's a big deal. Coach Whitlock, big win Tuesday night, 56-55, game winner by Connor English. I know you got to be proud for Connor, or for him for stepping up and making that big play in a real crucial situation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game we had to have. I mean, the season hasn't gone probably as well as we would have liked to this point. We had a very, very lengthy team meeting on Monday to talk about culture and kind of retool some things, and the kids really responded. And Connor actually came off the bench the other night. We changed his role, and he got the ball on the baseline, made a great play, and put it in the basket. He's a bucket getter. I mean, he's a solid shooter, but he just kind of finds a way to get it in. Still likes the bank shot, which is kind of a lost art these days.
Definitely. Well, I have a backboard. I
right.
think most people think they have a backboard just to hold the rim up.
Exactly. So, You know, we were pretty fortunate to get out of that. Page is a really good team and has just had a string of bad luck, I think, throughout the season. But they're going to be a formidable opponent for whoever they play down the stretch.
Coach Whitlock, one of the things I appreciate about you is you're always so forthcoming about how you're thinking. Because I was going to mention, you don't like to talk about must-wins, but that was kind of a must-win in the league, right?
Yeah, I mean, you lose that one and you drop to 1-5 in league play, and you're really with a young team, the psyche is really fragile sometimes. And we've got a couple of seniors that are playing significant minutes, but then everybody else is pretty much new, and you just don't know how kids are going to react. And obviously, going into an atmosphere tonight, and I think this Battle of the Woods edition is going to be drastically different than other ones, with the concept that a lot of these players on the floor on both teams are relatively new to this stage, so we don't know really how they're going to react. I mean, they've all been in big games before, but this is a little bit different element. So being able to sift through that and be ready to go is really important.
You guys are a lot like Brentwood in that respect, in that you've got some players going to be playing in this league for a few more years. Talk about Rex Gaynor. I think he is a name that a lot of people will know. A solid leader for your team and a deadly three-point shooter. A definite leader for that young team, right?
Absolutely. I mean, he's having a tremendous year. It has become the year of the junk defense in the league. I know Coach has played a lot of triangle and 2 and some box and 1, and we saw some box and 1 last night, and Coach Tiger's playing some, but it seems like every time he knocks down a couple threes, we look at that box and 1. So hopefully at some point we can figure that out. Hopefully tonight.
Box
we'll see.
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Write that down.
Write that down.
There you go.
Change your scouting report right now. But he's shooting around 40% from 3. He could play the point guard position for us, but we want him to get off the ball and create. Top-notch student, great GPA, great ACT score. He's going to be successful in whatever he does. But really proud of him and the year he's having.
Let's talk about the district, how it stands now. And again, early on in the season, Brentwood at 4-0, Dixon at 5-0, Centennial 4-1, obviously playing well. Franklin 3-2, Summit 2-2, Ravenwood, you guys in at 6 at 2-4. Indy, Spring Hill, and Page round out the league. Coach and I were talking about this earlier before you got here, Coach Whitlock. Dixon County, Brentwood, Centennial, Franklin, Summit right now, top 5, and pretty good teams. Not even including your team and Indian. One of those teams isn't advancing. And then also one of those teams, as it stands now, obviously this can change, with a matchup against your team, Independence, Page, it's going to be, I think we say it every year, but it's going to be a tough league. You agree, Coach Shirley, in terms of as it progresses in the tournament too?
Without a doubt. I mean, it has to be the toughest district in the state. I mean, last year, if I remember right, only 2 of the top 4 seeds won the first night, and Coach Whitlock had a great win in the district quarterfinals last year. So every night out's just a challenge.
Coach Whitlock, your team, you're sitting at 6 now. Do you talk about that? Do you say, hey, let's move up? Or do you talk about let's take care of tonight's game?
I mean, I think this year it's a little bit more irrelevant because I don't think the district is as top heavy. I mean, I felt like last year you had Centennial, Brentwood, and Franklin, who we kind of felt were untouchable at the top, and you really wanted to try and avoid those teams. So, we're focused on tonight, and after tonight, we'll focus on our next game Monday at Loretto. We don't really talk about where we want to end up in the stands because there'll be 8 teams that go in that district quarterfinals. There's going to be 4 teams that are upset because there's 8 teams that are going to go into that district tournament expecting to advance.
No, I agree with you. It seems like, again, we talk about these things every year, but it seems like even more than other years that's the case. And probably goes back to what you're saying, Coach. I do think maybe it is a little bit more even, maybe not quite as top-heavy as it's been, and it wouldn't maybe be as big a surprise to see one of those 5 through 8 seeds win a game. Coach Shirley, let's talk about tonight's game a little bit more. What's the focus for your team? You talked about having a young team and going into Ravenwood, that Battle of the Woods. Now, some of those guys have been sitting and watching. Now they're on the floor playing. How do you handle that?
First of all, there's not a better atmosphere. I had a chance to coach in Florida for 30 years, had big rival games, but just the student sections and the support that's in the game, it's a special, special moment for our players tonight. And I've told them after the game, first time we mentioned Ravenwood was, hey, let's go in and embrace it. Let's enjoy it. Smell it, feel it, take it all in during warm-ups. Then it's back to work doing what we do. So it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. I can't wait for tonight. We're going to enjoy it.
I'm assuming, Coach Shirley, you don't have to give the old win one for the Gipper speech tonight. They're going to be ready to go.
They are definitely ready to go.
And you guys will lean on, I'm sure, Winley in particular, his leadership and being in those games for a couple of years. I'm sure he'll be somebody that those younger guys step up or look to for tonight's game as well, right?
And, you know, a lot of our players, like you mentioned, Griffin, Burke, you know, they competed against the guys that started last year. You know, we had a great senior group last year that, you know, helped us make the run that we made at the state tournament. But those other guys were competing on a daily basis against the Preston Moores and the Ben Mills and the Cole Masseys and just that great group of seniors I had last year. So it is different being on the big stage yourself, but, you know, like the win it against Franklin early in the year, packed house, great atmosphere. Summit game, great atmosphere. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge. Coach Whitlock does a great job. I will put the box of warn in, you know, after you know, right before the game time, but we'll go from there.
Coach Whitlock, talk about, you know, the challenges that Brentwood's team poses for your team tonight.
Well, they're just constantly improving. I mean, these new guys that they've kind of worked into their lineup have really stepped up. Drennan in the middle is a problem. I'm not sure, you know, we have a plan, obviously, to try and neutralize him, but that's going to be tough. That's easier said than done. We don't have a big physical guy in the middle on a consistent basis. You know, two shooters, Redner and Brock, putting them in the corners, running the high pick and roll with Winley. You know, there's a lot of matchup issues that we have, and we have to, you know, mix it up. And, you know, really this game is going to be really physical. Brentwood's a very physical team, and that's something that our younger guys it's kind of like a work in progress. We're learning to be more physical, but if we're not going to be physical and just lay it all on the line tonight, then we're going to be in a world of trouble.
Does your team, kind of like I mentioned with Winley, do they lean on Gaynor tonight too?
Yeah, absolutely. Rex and then Atif Williams, who's our other senior who's been starting, who has just kind of resurrected his role and what he does. I mean, he is a guy that goes out and just thrives on doing the dirty work. And at halftime the other night, you know, Mason Allen from Page had 13 points. And Atif's like, I'm guarding him in the second half. I mean, we didn't tell him to, but he's like, he just went out and made the switch on his own, and Allen only gets one more three, and it was off a switch near the end of the game. So he's kind of taken that assertive role, and I just really couldn't be more proud of the contributions he's made as well.
Well, that's neat to hear how he had the confidence to do that, and you had the confidence in him to let him do it. Of course, it worked out, so.
Yeah, so we all look smart. So there you go.
Now, we'll finish with this. I'm going to be shocked if tonight's game's in the 60s. I'm expecting a 40s or 50s game, like an old 9 AAA
That'll
game.
make two of us, so.
Agree? Coach Shirley, what do you think?
Every game has been interesting. I'm not taking that bet. I would imagine you're right on time.
I don't know that we're two of the most aesthetically offensive pleasing teams out there. You know, I mean, typically teams I've had have been able to score. This team has been a little bit different. We were pretty efficient against Page the other night. We shot, I think, 62% from the floor. We didn't get a lot of shots. We only had 29 shots. It was a very slow-moving game when it was all said and done. And we only shot 7 threes. We were 4 of 7 from 3, which typically my teams are shooting 15 to 25 threes a game. I mean, we heave it up there maybe to a fault, but, you know, we've had to clamp down on some of that. So,
well, gentlemen, I'm looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck to both of you tonight. We'll see you next time on the Coach's Preview Show.